Chapter 9: How to Use the Will from The Science of Getting Rich, a noted integrated edition. To set about getting rich in a scientific way, you do not try to apply your willpower to anything outside yourself. You have no right to do so anyway. It is wrong to apply your will to other men and women in order to get them to do as you wish done. It is as flagrantly wrong to coerce people by mental power as it is to coerce them by physical power. And compelling people by physical force to do things for you reduces them to slavery. Compelling them by mental means accomplishes exactly the same thing. The only difference is in methods. If taking things from people by physical force is robbery, then taking things by mental force is robbery also. There is no difference in principle. You have no right to use your willpower upon another person, even for his own good, for you do not know what is for his good. The science of getting rich does not require you to apply power or force to any other person in any way whatsoever. There is not the slightest necessity for doing so. Indeed, any attempt to use your will upon others will only tend to defeat your purpose. You do not need to apply your will to things in order to compel them to come to you. And then there's a meditation box. The only person in charge of your success and your dreams is you. This may seem like it loads you with a burden of responsibility, but once you truly get this, it can be liberating to know you don't have to change others or hope and wait for assistance. You already have everything you need within yourself. So, in regards to the whole responsibility thing, I believe it's called Extreme Ownership. It's a book written by a former Navy SEAL who basically says you take 100% responsibility or ownership of everything that happens, even if it's not your fault, you're taking ownership for it, and that gives you power. That would simply be trying to coerce God and would be foolish and useless, as well as irrelevant. You do not have to compel God to give you good things, any more than you have to use your willpower or to make the sun rise. You do not have to use your willpower to conquer an unfriendly deity or to make stubborn and rebellious forces do your bidding. Substance is friendly to you and is more anxious to give you what you want than you are to get it. To get rich, you need only to use willpower upon yourself. When you know what to think and do, then you must use your will to compel yourself to think and do the right things. That is a legitimate use of the will in getting what you want. To use it in holding yourself to the right course. Use your will to keep yourself thinking and acting in a certain way. Do not try to project your will or your thoughts or your mind out into space to act on things or people. Keep your mind at home. It can accomplish more there than elsewhere. Use your mind to form a mental image of what you want and to hold that vision with faith and purpose, and use your will to keep your mind working in the right way. The more steady and continuous your faith and purpose, the more rapidly you will get rich because you will make only positive inspirations upon substance and you will not neutralize or offset them by negative impressions. The picture of your desire held with faith and purpose is taken up by the formless and permeates it to, to great distance through the universe for all I know. As this impression spreads, all things are set moving towards its realization. Every living thing, every inanimate thing, and the things yet uncreated are stirred towards bringing into being that which you want. All forces being begins to be exerted in that direction. All things begin to move towards you. The mind of people everywhere are influenced towards doing the things necessary to the fulfilling of your desires, and they work for you unconsciously. But you can check all of this by starting a negative impression in the formless substance. Doubt or unbelief is as certain to start a movement away from you as faith and purpose are to start one towards you. It is by understanding this that most people who try to make use of mental science and getting rich make their failure. Every hour and moment you spend in giving heed to doubt and fears, every hour you spend in worry, every hour in which your soul is possessed by unbelief, sets a current away from you in the whole domain of intelligent substance. All the promises are unto them that believe, and unto them only. Notice how insistent Jesus was upon this point of belief, and now you know the reason why. Since belief is all important, it behoves you to guard your thoughts, and as your beliefs will be shaped to a very great extent by the things you observe and think about, it is important that you should command your attention. And here the will comes into use, for it is by your will that you determine upon what things your attention shall be fixed. If you want to become rich, you must not make a study of poverty. Things are not brought into being by thinking of their opposites. Health is never to be attained by studying disease, and thinking about disease. Righteousness is not to be promoted by studying sin and thinking about sin. And no one ever got rich by studying poverty and thinking about poverty. And then we have the works box. It is just like a magnet. Faith, belief, gratitude, and focusing on your vision act like magnets pulling your desire to you. Fear, doubt, and focusing on the lack reverses the pull of the magnet and pulls things other than the best towards you. So this is kind of interesting because it's the law of attraction, but it's giving parts of it, faith, belief, gratitude, focusing on your vision. It's giving pieces that help you attract to you. And then it also has fear, doubt, and focusing on lack as things that push or repel what you want away from you. Medicine as a science of disease has increased disease. Religion as a science of sin has promoted sin. And economics as a study of poverty will fill the world with wretchedness and want. Do not talk about poverty. Do not investigate or concern yourself with it. Never mind what its causes are. You have nothing to do with them. What concerns you is the cure. So a lot of, politicians might try to get in office by kind of promoting the idea of wanting to help the poor, but really the poor need to help themselves get more income. Studying poverty or people that are poor is just going to make more people poor and, increase that way of thinking as opposed to, increasing wealth. And, if you help poor people get wealthy, there will be less poor people. Do not spend your time in charitable work or charity movements. All charity only tends to perpetrate the wretchedness it aims to eradicate. I do not say that you should be hard-hearted or unkind and refuse to hear the cry of need, but you must not try to eradicate poverty in any of the conventional ways. Put poverty behind you and put all that pertains to it behind you and make good. Get rich, that is the best way you can help the poor. And there's a quick reflection box. Get rich, that is the best way you can help the poor. And, this might be said the best way to help the poor is by getting rich is because you're, the power of example. You're showing poor people this is what I did to get rich. And you cannot hold the mental image which is to make you rich if you fill your mind with pictures of poverty. Do not read books or papers which give circumstantial accounts of the wretchedness of the tenement dwellers or of the horrors of child labor and so on. Do not read anything which fills your mind with gloomy images of want and suffering. And it's interesting that the idea of want has come up a couple of times in this chapter because really in this day and age with credit cards and other things, people are experiencing lifestyle creep that as they either their income raises or their access to money, in the form of debt, aka credit cards, people are able to live more luxury than they should at their current income and then not end up with any savings or investments. So instead of, more income and increasing your spending, you stay at the same spending as before and save the difference and take that savings to invest. And then when you take that money and invest it, your investments become another income. So you have, a 9-to-5 job if you're an employee or your business that are making you money, and then parallel to that earned income, you have investments that are running parallel to make you money at the same time. You cannot help the poor in the least by knowing about these things, and the widespread knowledge of them does not tend at all to do away with poverty. And then we have the works box. I've met a lot of people who say, oh, but I have to watch the news to be aware and stay informed on what's happening in the world. Well, this awareness you have been seeking is keeping your mind focused on fear, crime, poverty, stress, and struggle. They don't show good news on the news. They pull the little fragments of chaos and deliver them all into your mind and throw your clear vision off track. Focus only on news of success, abundance, prosperity, and love, and I can 100% promise you that you'll feel better. What tends to do away with poverty is not getting rid of pictures of poverty in your mind, but getting pictures of wealth into your mind of the poor. You have not deserting you are not deserting the poor in their misery when you refuse to allow your minds to be filled with pictures of that misery. Poverty can be done away with not by increasing the number of well-to-do people who think about poverty, but increasing the number of poor people who purpose with faith to get rich. The poor do not need charity, they need inspiration. Charity only sends them a loaf of bread to keep them alive in their wretchedness, or gives them an entertainment to make them forget for an hour or two. But inspiration will cause them to rise out of their misery. If you want to help the poor, demonstrate to them they can become rich. Prove it by getting rich yourself. Then we have a contemplation box. Lead by example. Trust yourself and know that you won't forget to assist and be of service once you have made your riches. Then you can show others the path. Use the teach a man to fish approach. The only way in which poverty will ever be banished from this world is by getting a large and constantly increasing number of people to practice the teaching of this book. People must be taught to become rich by creation, not competition. Every man who becomes rich by competition throws behind him the ladder by which he rises and keeps others down. But every man who gets rich by the creation opens a way for thousands to follow him and inspires them to do so. You are not showing hardness of heart or an unfeeling disposition when you refuse to pity poverty, see poverty, read about poverty, or think or talk about it, or to listen to those who do talk about it. Use your willpower to keep your mind off the subject of poverty and to keep it fixed with faith and purpose on the vision of what you want. And then the exercise at the end of the chapter, how can I inspire and focus on the good in life? List out all the ways, small and large, that I feel good or at least feel a little bit better. So this seems like a very good exercise because you're kind of using gratitude as a stepping stool to then see how you can increase life and get rich. So hopefully you found some value in this. If you haven't already subscribed, consider hitting the subscribe button and the bell notification so you can see when I do the Science of Getting Rich videos. Thanks and have a good day.